Hi and welcome to this video log with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, this week I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to give you the 3 key areas you should be working on in your preparation phase to get your stroke right for your winter training so your swimming can be better next year when you start to do triathlon. You know for absolute fact one thing about water, and that is that if you put your head in water, you can't breathe. And to my mind, that causes most of the problems that we initially get with adults in their swimming. With everything we do in sport, everything's a balancing act. If I move this out, I'm going to try and balance the other side. But that's even more important in water because we're actually prone, we're actually on our fronts. And if we're on our front, how do we keep balance? And where is our balance point? When we're standing, we know where our balance point is. We can move it fairly easily. But once we get into water, we're not sure. Now, the easiest way to balance yourself up is to actually kick on your side with your arms by your side. And if I turn my head forward and down and practice kicking, you can see that I'm just perfectly balanced. Now, if I stay balanced and the water is running down about there, if I turn up, I can breathe. And if I turn down, my head's in the water. And that is perfectly balanced. How do I get to that position? Well, obviously I want to start like this. And what I want to do is push my chest into the water, imaginary, and just push it in so that my hips come all the way to the surface without bending. So I'll push my chest into the water, because that's about the balancing point. Push my chest in the water from about the nipple area, and I will suddenly find my arm is virtually out of the water. And I'm looking forward and down slightly, turn up to breathe. So it's now I would do that for length after length. If you can, do it with fins on, because fins do tend to make you move faster in the water, and the faster you move, the easier it is to breathe. But you want to feel your arm out of the water virtually all the way to there when it's on your side. Don't lift it up there. You want it on your side, and you want to feel it out the water all the way to there. What you may feel happening is as you turn to breathe, you'll start lifting your head, and you'll start seeing that you start rocking. So your arm moves from the surface, your head moves underwater. You move from the surface and you move underwater. And the reason for that is everything balances. So if you lift your head at one end, your feet go down, your head comes back, but it doesn't, it overbalances, and you set up a rocking motion. If you feel you're doing that, calm down, kick on your side, keep it level, and just turn up and turn down. Alright, the second element for you to work on, tip, huge area number 2, is your timing of your breathing. Now remember, if you're kicking on your side and you're just going, when should you be actually moving your head to the side to breathe? Well, let me show you. If I come forward, and you can see I actually start breathing the moment I'm turned to the side and my arm starts its recovery. And why do I want that? Well, ideally I'd like a high elbow recovery. But even if you're recovering straight arm and to the side, you'll find that you can actually be balanced if you're breathing at the end of your cycle and your head is coming up with your body, and you'll be perfectly balanced throughout the stroke. If you breathe early, you can see what happens to my arm. I'm actually pushing myself upwards, creating imbalance. Whereas if I breathe at the end of my stroke, my hips out the way, I can easily breathe and turn. That's where you want to breathe. Now, to practice that, if you're stroking, touch your hip, turn to breathe. Touch your hip, breathe. Touch your hip. So I'm touching my hip with my thumb, and then I start to breathe. That will get you nicely balanced whilst you're breathing. We now come to tip number 3. And tip number 3 is probably the hardest of all for adults to get absolutely right. And that is the catch position. Where is this elusive catch that everyone talks about? Well, it's here. right there. And if you make any propulsive movement down to the catch, instead of just making an easy movement to catch, you're making propulsion in a different direction other than backwards, which is the direction you want. If you make propulsive movement down, you're pushing your front end up, everything else goes down, and you set this seesaw motion in action again. I have here what I would call my elusive barrel. You might hear about what coaches say you should be reaching over a barrel. Well, here I have a barrel that I can actually reach over. And if I actually swim with my right arm, that is the position I've got to get into at the front of my stroke. Notice my hand is in line with my shoulder, my elbow's pointing up, and my hand is actually wrapping round this barrel-shaped object. And that is the position I want when I'm actually in the catch position. Now, it doesn't matter if you've got a high elbow recovery or if you've got a swing recovery. That's the position you actually want to get into. Notice, bang, I can get into it as quickly as I want, so long as I'm there. And if I want to, I can get into it slowly. But whatever happens, I'm going to be in that position. So what you do above the water, to some extent, doesn't matter. That position is the position you want to get into. You can do it with both arms. My left arm will go into exactly the same position, in line with my shoulder, elbow pointing up, wrapped around this barrel. And I've got that position. Now, the easiest way to practice that particular position, or getting into it, is with single arm. And with single arm, the other hand can come in next to the arm that's extended, rotate to the other side, get into that barrel position, and drive back. If it helps, draw something on your hand and look at it before you drive back, and you'll be in that right position. So it's forward, rotate, back. Forward, rotate, back. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're a wide swinger or if you're a high elbow, you want to be in the same position at the catch. And the quicker you get to the catch, the better it is, so long as your move through the water is non-propulsive. Now, if you look at the swimmingcyclingrunning.com website and look at the Wednesday morning Harrow training plan, you'll see lots of drills that I'm doing with my squad for the next few weeks in the preparation phase. And if you follow those drills, you'll actually be practicing all of these techniques, and you can just take those through the winter. Now, that's on a 33-metre pool. Just adjust it and the timings to suit the time you've got and the pool length you swim in. Okay, so there you have it. We've got 2 more weeks of preparation, so we're going to go through preparation again, a different part of it next week, and we'll see you then. In the meantime, have a great time. Any questions you have, just post them to me. I will try and get to you, or I certainly will get to you at some point. Keep well.